everybody, and welcome to another video! First of all, sorry that I haven't been posting anything in the last 2 weeks. I had a lot of university stress and I was on Cyprus. I saw some flamingos. But this is not the topic of today's video. If you guys are subscribed to my channel for a bit longer, you probably have realized that there was a time where I didn't upload any videos. That was not because I don't like you guys, it was because I was writing my bachelor thesis for university. Can you write a bachelor thesis not for university? Whatever, my bachelor thesis took quite some time, but why am I telling this to you guys? It's because I made myself read 50 Shades of Grey, and I realized that everything is wrong with this book. Like, really, everything. And then I had the idea, maybe I just collect all the feelings I felt while reading the book and upload a YouTube video. So basically I can say, I read 50 Shades of Grey, so you guys don't have to. And also, I know the hype about 50 Shades of Grey is a bit gone, but so is the hype for pop sockets, okay? And I just got my first one. Am I finally cool now? So I hope you guys will enjoy the video more than I enjoyed reading the book. Let's start the video with some background information about the book. 50 Shades of Grey started as a Twilight fanfiction with the title Master of the Universe. So the main characters were Edward and Bella, and I guess the rest of the people were in there somewhere too. In 2012, the first book was published with the title 50 Shades of Grey. Because of copyright reasons, the author E.L James had to change the names of the main characters. Also, the fanfiction community was quite unhappy with her claiming single authorship for a fanfiction when fanfictions are known to be a work in progress and are written in direct exchange with the community. Even though Twilight is a book written for young adults, 50 Shades of Grey isn't. It is part of the new category, new adult. Why am I saying new category? Well, let's just quickly dive into that. New adult literature is kind of a new literature category that got created actively. Like, not like other genres that just evolve over time. New adult got created actively because some online journal wanted to have a new kind of young adult or something like this. And this is how new adult was created. Yeah, you don't need a vacuum cleaner when you have birds. As I already mentioned, Twilight was written for younger people, but eventually it also reached a wider audience. It not just reached younger people that like the innocence of Bella and Edward, it also reached older people, like the parents of the target audience, like my mom, for example. Hell yeah, she loved Twilight. She finished the books before I did. On the other side, we have 50 Shades of Grey, whose audience are the people that thought Twilight was too innocent. So that's why it's also called mummy porn. In 2015, the first movie was out, and it was quite a success. Just in comparison, in the USA, more tickets were sold within a week than for the Hunger Games in 2012. But let's not talk about the movie anymore, because we're talking about the book here. If you guys thought the movie was bad, well, be prepared what is about to come. Oh my god, this was a good joke. What is the book about? Spoiler, they have sex. That's literally everything that's happening throughout the whole book. Throughout the whole, how many pages? I don't know, more than almost 500 pages. They just have sex. I read the whole book expecting the plot to start. Like, you know, I was a bit into it and I was like, okay, I know it. They have the contract and they have sex, but when does the plot start? Like, when is something happening? Like, they can't just have sex for the whole book, right? Spoiler. Yes, they can. There is nothing happening except for sex. But different locations. There is sex in a boathouse, sex in the Red Room of Pain, sex in a bathtub, sex in a hotel in Georgia, and I don't know. And at some point they ride a helicopter. Oh, and they fight a lot. They quite fight a lot. I guess you get the point. They just have sex. The whole relationship between Anastasia and Christian Grey is just cursed and absolutely toxic and abusive and everything. Like, really, everything is wrong about this. But first, talk about the main characters in the book. The heroine of the story is called Anastasia Steele, but she prefers to be called Anna. If this reminds you of another female protagonist of another book, Twilight, that prefers being called by her nickname, then Yes, you exactly got a point there. But Anna is different because she studies in Vancouver. I thought so, right? Vancouver, Canada. No, of course not. She's living in Vancouver, Portland. And yes, it took me a while to realize she was not from Vancouver, Canada. The whole book, I was so sure it has to be Canada, right? Because it made sense. Like, they were flying from Canada to Seattle, like Vancouver, Seattle, it's not that far off, right? I was all the way through the book when I realized, they were not talking about Canada there. Anna is living in an apartment that she shares with her roommate Kate. Kate is her best friend, and she's basically irrelevant for the whole story. Because Kate is ill, Anna has to do an interview for the student newspaper, and this is how she meets Christian. The first meeting is really awkward. Anna is very clumsy, and to underline this, she's falling into the office. So she's literally falling for him from the first second. Oh, damn, was this joke bad. But she's not just clumsy, she's also not like the other girls. Like Bella from Twilight. They're both not like the other girls, even though it makes them the same, but whatever. They prefer reading Old English literature over partying and alcohol, which is basically very ironic because Anastasia is the biggest alcoholic that I can think of, because she's drinking in almost all the time when she's with Christian. Maybe it's just Christian making an alcoholic out of her, who knows. But that's not even the worst part about Anna. The worst part is her inner goddess. And this inner goddess is the reason why I literally screamed while reading the book, because, I don't know, just talking about an inner goddess sounds like a 50-year-old woman writing a book for teenagers trying to think like a teenager or college student, and, you know... Oh, wait. That's exactly what happened. What is this inner goddess? The inner goddess is Anna's self-confidence, like, she's playful, she is flirting, she loves exploring herself sexually. You know, that's like the inner goddess. On the other hand, there is Anna's self-consciousness that always puts her down, tells her she's shit, and that Christian is way too hot for her. Oh yeah, and she also gets very horny when she has this inner goddess in voice in her head. Like, very, very horny. Like, very uncomfortably horny. But I think that sums up her character quite well. It's not that deep, like Twilight, but even worse. But I'm not blaming the author for that. Maybe it's even a phenomenon of modern literature where you try to make the characters as relatable as possible so the readers can identify with them, which obviously makes the characters less deep because you leave out a lot of stuff that would define a character. What we can blame the author for is the glorification of a totally toxic and abusive relationship. Because that's what Christian and Anna have. But who is Christian? He is a sexy and handsome billionaire that doesn't do relationships. That's a quote, by the way. Also, he fucks hard. Sorry, this quote always gets me. He also has the habit of talking like he's way older than he is and sounds a bit like he is immortal, like vampires, for example. Just another similarity to Twilight here. He's also described as being old-fashioned and has a huge knowledge about human nature, but guess who he can't read? If you guessed Anna, then you're totally right. Because obviously he can't read her. It's all just Twilight disguised in kinkiness. Christian Grey only participates in BDSM relationships with a contract because he's a sexy billionaire, so he doesn't want the people to sue him, I guess. He also makes his subs sign some NDA, so they're not even allowed to talk about his kinky fantasies. Because what is hotter than having sex with a billionaire and signing an NDA and another contract? Yeah, so hot. But since Anna is not like the other girls, she's not like the other subs Christian had before, she doesn't have to sign the contract. At least she doesn't do it throughout the first book. So you can see that she's different than the other girls he fucked. Hard. I have to do it again. Together they experience a lot of firsts. For example, Anna's first time making love. I'm sorry, does anyone use the word making love? Together they experience a lot of firsts. For example, Anna's first time, where she comes just because he's sucking her toes. Or was this another time they had sex? I can't tell, but it happened, I swear. It happened in the book. So if you watched the movie and thought, why is she moaning when he's, I don't know, kissing her belly button? Is she coming or what? Then the answer is yes, because in the book she's just always orgasm like a big orgasm machine. What I want to say is that this book supports totally unrealistic sexual fantasies and also a totally wrong image of how sex should be. And this is targeted for a younger-ish audience. Not every woman can come from sexual intercourse or from just the penetration. We're not diving too deep into sex education, but studies show that only 50 to 70% of women are even able to come. The amount of women that come just through the penetration itself, it's not that many, okay? It's not that many. And especially not during your first time, but Anna is an orgasm machine, so she is not like the other girls, she comes all the time. I guess writing a story from the perspective of a woman would be very sexually frustrating if it's supposed to be a sex story, if you make it realistic. They also experienced other firsts together, like Christian's first time introducing a girl to his parents, and his first time taking a girl into his helicopter, and, you know, that stuff. But that all sounds so cute. So what is the abusive part there? Yeah, well, I don't know much about BDSM, but what I heard throughout the years is that a lot of people from the BDSM community were very unhappy with the movie because it shows BDSM in a totally wrong light. And since I already said I don't know much, so I just made up my mind and thought a bit, what could they not like about the book except for everything. What I thought is maybe that Christian Grey uses BDSM as an excuse to hit Anna when he's unhappy with her. And I guess that's not the point in BDSM, because you do it with consent and you do it like, I don't know, but I think there might be the rule that you don't let your emotions out. Like, you don't use it as an excuse to hit someone because you are aggressive. You use it, I don't know, for other things, I guess. So I guess this is very toxic, because he claims to be the kinky dominant guy, but actually he just is getting frustrated and hits her. Also, he kind of forces Anna into the BDSM relationship, because she is very insecure and unsure if she really likes this, and there are some parts in the book where she says, oh, but if it means I don't see him ever again, maybe I should at least try. So she doesn't want it. Her inner goddess maybe wants it, but do we listen to her? So she basically gets forced into this relationship that she doesn't even want to be in. And this is just because she has feelings for him and doesn't want to lose him. Which is very sad. And kind of relatable, I guess. I guess this is how abusive relationships happen. He also stalks her quite hardly. He always knows where she is. He always pops up where she is. Like, even when she's trying to get away from him to visit her parents at the end of the book to get her mind a bit clearer, he shows up in freaking Georgia. So he's basically everywhere. And she knows it, and the worst part is she doesn't mind because it's him. She literally calls him stalker in her head and is then like, hee hee, but I don't mind because it's him. In this case, she's a bit smarter than Bella from Twilight, because she doesn't even realize that it was stalking what Edward did, but at least that's what she knows here. Christian Grey is controlling, abusive, he hits her, he forced her into a relationship that she doesn't want, he stalks her, he gets mad when she doesn't answer his messages quickly enough, like, what the fuck? This is like a really huge red flag. And it's all sexy, at least in the book, because Anna thinks it's sexy, and I would say a lot of people that read the book probably thought it was sexy. And I have to say, abusive relationships are not sexy. Like, absolutely not. And this is why we should stop glorifying them and stop thinking this is cute and romantic and everything. Twilight is not cute and romantic, and 50 Shades of Grey isn't either. It's even worse. But after all this fucked up part about 50 Shades of Grey, let's do something fun. This is the part of the video that I'm looking forward the most. And I called it 50 Shades of Grey without context, which means I will randomly open a page in the book and read a little bit out to you, just so you guys get a feeling for, I don't know, the inner goddess maybe. Page 270. Miss Steele, you are not just a pretty face. You've had 6 orgasms so far and all of them belong to me. Page 232. How was dinner? So it begins. We had oysters followed by cod? I'd say it was fishy. What the fuck is this dialogue? Page 399. Yes, I'm rich. Get used to it. Page 484. I try to calm myself down to connect with my inner sub. She's there somewhere, hiding behind my inner goddess. Yeah, I think that was enough. I'm leaving out all the sexual stuff here, cause maybe you're into that and you want to read the book, so I don't want to spoil you guys too much. Also, if you guys enjoyed the video and you'll leave a like here, if the video reaches 20 likes, I will read the second book and make another video. because apparently I enjoy punishing myself. So yeah, see you guys in another video. Bye! When he watched 50 Shades of Grey with me, so that's where we are now. He watched all 50 Shades of Grey movies. I watched the first Lord of the Rings movie, and I'm very disappointed because Mr. Boyfriend spoiled me, but he spoiled me wrong. Spoiler alert! If you haven't watched Lord of the Rings, don't even try doing it. It's very long. Like my penis? No kidding. Like, I don't know. But Mr. Boyfriend told me they will burn the ring in the end of the movie, but they didn't, so he spoiled